I'm gonna be real with you. I never expected Primm to have this many overhaul mods. Somehow, Primm has more overhaul mods than Good Springs. However, despite having so many overhaul mods, I think Primm has the least amount of variety between them. Most of these just add a few buildings and a bit of clutter. There are some cool ones, but most of these are kinda meh. I did put them in a tier list though because of no reason at all. Anyways, here's the video, hope you guys enjoy. Starting off with a pretty bad one. On paper, Bond's Primm Remake tries to turn it into a clean town, but the execution is all wrong. Clean doesn't mean that there will not be a single dirt particle in the walls. The textures are also really shiny, so everything looks even worse. The interiors, however, are on a different level. None of the PrimmAdvanced furnitures fit in with the new interiors. It also feels like there is no depth in the walls and they feel extremely flat. The only good thing about this mod is this small open player home. It looks pretty decent, and the best part is that you don't need to go through any loading screen to access it. There's also this pool in the back, which is fine I guess, but the grass again looks really out of place. I personally don't recommend this mod, mostly because of the distracting casino reskins, but there are also other stuff like exteriors don't matching interiors and so on. I have to give it a D. New Primm is also pretty bad, but unlike the previous mod, it is bad because it doesn't do too much. Changes include this new closed liquor store, which is fine, nothing to complain about, but then you go to the back of the shop and there are these giant posters and they look really weird. I can imagine the NCR putting giant posters as propaganda, but why are they not straight? These are not billboards, these are posters. Why would anyone put a poster in that way? Other than that, there's a store with a missing door and nothing much. The only decent thing about this mod is this merchant in front of PrimmAdvanced, but it's still going to D tier. Cleaning Primm up tries a lot of things but succeeds at very little of them. There is this weird bridge now connecting the NCR side with the actual town, but it looks very out of place. There are also a few new shops here. Some of them you can even enter. For some reason, there was this small room under the armory which looked extremely poor, and I don't get why they added it because there's already a small shooting area outside the place. The residential area has some new plants, but these are all wild desert plants. I don't know why they are not farming some actual crops. So in the footage you might see I am giving it a B, and that was actually accidental. It is a more of a C and even a D. Primmmed or maybe Pre-made tries to turn Primm into a richer town, but I think most of the things this mod adds are super out of place, and there are also bad editing and lots of bugs with this mod. There are many buildings added by this mod, but very few of them are actually normal. For example, there is this church which looks normal from the outside, but then you go into the basement and there's endless rooms filled with jackals, or this film theater which has a standing corpse and a debug mode NPC. Or this UFO bar that doesn't even have any bartenders nor any customers. However, there are a few things this mod does well, like it added a daughter of Jonathan Ness. I still don't recommend it to anyone. However, I will give it a C for some of those good ideas. Primming with Life is actually a pretty decent mod. It adds your general clutter, nothing too impressive, but it also adds a lot of new traders and farmers that moved into Primm after the powder gangas cleared out. All of these NPC and location changes fit in with the game and adds an additional layer of depth to the place. There are also a lot of generic NPCs that fill in the empty streets of Primm, but they don't just walk around, but actually relax here and there. Some of the named NPCs include Mackey the Blacksmith, Brahmin Joe, and Crispy Chris. There is also a small lookout post near the south end of the town, which makes sense as there is a Jackal gang base in that direction. All in all, I really like the changes this mod makes to the town. If this mod had voice acting, I would have gave it a S, but for now it has to make do with an A. Coming from an A, we have another stinker. New Primm doesn't look too bad from the outside. Who am I kidding? It looks bad from outside, inside, above and beyond, and everywhere. All of the buildings are very poorly placed with noticeable gap between the geometry. But the worst part is all of the buildings are actually just one interior copy pasted over and over again. There are also weird glow coming from the bottom of the light posts. This mod also claims that it adds more NCR presence in the town, but in execution, All of the NCR soldiers are either clipping through something, standing still like a rock, or running into a wall. All of this stuff makes New Primm City this list's first F tier mod. This next one is pretty interesting one and is perfect to try out this month. Apocalyptic and scary Primm turns it into a haunted type of town with dead bodies everywhere and gore everywhere. Well, kinda everywhere, which brings me to the main criticism of this mod. Almost all of the gore this mod adds is excellent, but I'm not gonna lie, there's too little of it. I'm giving this mod a B not because it's bad, but I wish this mod covered the whole town instead of sticking to mainly the central part. Improved Primm is a fine mod, nothing too special. It mostly adds clutter to the town. Clutter includes bottles, even more bottles. What is this mod's obsession with bottles? Jokes aside, it's mostly just bottles, card decks, billboards, and that sort of stuff. If you wanna make your Primm look more dirty, then go with this mod. It's a B. Primm Restored version 2 isn't as bland as the previous one. This mod adds some cool stuff like a shooting range, a tent for the soldiers to gamble, and a Starbucks, a fountain in front of Steve Bison Casino, and a few more things like that. The only thing I don't like about this mod is this weirdly placed fenced wall to the south road, but other than that, it's pretty fine. I can't really give it an A, but it's a high B for me. PrimmAdvanced is also of similar quality. It fills the barren soil of Primm with grass, but this grass actually suits New Vegas unlike Bond's Primm Remake. This mod also adds a few turrets in the town along with a few new tents in the town to increase the NCR presence. Some new buildings are also enterable. There is this new wooden bridge connecting the town with the other part and it looks pretty decent. This mod also cleans up Primm, but that is not just limited to removing clutter but also changing a few interiors. However, some of the edits this mod makes are bugged and completely pull you out of the experience. I'm giving it a B, but if those small bugs were not there, then it would have been an A. Pleasant Primm turns Primm into a more open town, removing walls that were used to maintain performance in the PS3. Some actual changes include sandbags and wired barricades throughout the town, a few new buildings which are mostly ruins, Steve Bison Casino interior redesign. Well, not really, it's more of an interior inversion as the layout of the interior has been inverted now. Well, that was weird. I do recommend this mod as it's relatively modern and doesn't do anything too bad, but personally I will still give it an B because it also doesn't do anything special. The best city of Primm mod on the other hand does a lot of stuff and a lot of that is not that good. Let's get the positives out of the way. There are a few windmills around the town and also new water sources that serve as power source for the town. Now for the bad, there are palm trees planted into pots and they look super weird. There are also a lot of NPCs doing a lot of stuff, but one of their transitions look like this. I say this mod is perfectly mediocre as it does some good stuff but also some bad stuff. It's a C. This next mod is not really a town overhaul but rather a cut content restoration mod. Primm South Uncut restores the buildings in the south side of Primm seen in the beta screenshots. The small play area also makes sense now. Before it felt isolated from the town. However, there is nothing to do really, it's just filled with generic NPCs and there is not even a single trader or anything. I personally think just removing the play area will give you the same result as adding all those buildings. It is just pointless, at least to me. It's a B for me. Primm Reloaded 2024 is another one of those mods. A few new buildings, a bit of weird stuff. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm kinda running off these ones, but there's not really to talk about. It's just clutter and random buildings and more clutter and more. The only thing that catches your eyes is this fallen transmission tower, but it's still a B. Operation Primm actually has a theme, and I think it succeeds on it for the most part. This mod imagines a scenario where NCR rebuilds the town of Primm, reconstructs all of the broken stuff, and turns it into one of their main bases of operations by setting up a fully fledged camp in the south end of Primm. So all of that ruined stuff is gone, the bridge repaired, the roads rebuilt, but nothing still looks out of place. The new camp has everything from med stations to dining camp to intel camp, everything. I really like this mod. If it had voice acting or named NPCs, I would have given it an S, but I can only give it an A for now. Primm Redux on paper sound interesting. It's not a traditional overhaul mod. It does change a few bits in the town, but its main purpose is to add consequences of your choice of who will be Primm's next sheriff. So if you choose the NCR, some soldiers will take control of the town, but if you choose Primm Slim, then some militia will come into the town and you can do some quest for them. However, I couldn't find any militia. There are 2 generic ones in the Steve Bison, but other than that, there was no one. And then I went to the dark place.
No. Wait.
Yep, it's an F. Less empty Primm is pretty chill for the most part. The moment I stepped foot into the town, I saw 2 floating objects, so I thought it's another one of those mods, but other than that one glitch, everything else was pretty good. I'm not going to talk too much about the clutter, it's your usual stuff. There are a lot of interiors added by this mod and a lot of them have self-contained stories, which is pretty nice. There is a small open restaurant beside the Wiki vans and also a small trailer renting place. The south end of Primm has also received some love with new shops and even a detective agency. Also, it's kind of funny that there are these weird posters hanging in the office walls, as if real detectives hang movie posters on their walls. But I think this guy wasn't a real detective to begin with and just an imitator, and that's how he ended up getting killed. Anyway, I highly recommend this mod. It's old I know, but it adds some good stuff that you should definitely check out. It's an A for me. Enhanced Mojave plus Primm adds some clutter, and even more clutter. I'm sorry, but it's mediocre. It's a B. And that brings me to the last mod in this list, the most endorsed of them all, Primm Reborn. And I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad or anything, but it's not that good either. The best thing this mod does is that it lets you access the roof of Wiki vans, and you can even sit in the edge of the roof while listening to radio. Other than that, most of the things we have already seen. It's a B for me. I'm sorry, but I can give it an A. Man, that was a long one. This is the final tier list on your screen. I will recommend all of the mods in A tier, but some B tier mods such as Scary and Apocalyptic Primm also deserves a try. As always, thanks for watching guys. I will see you in the next one.